Bonnie.
All the no,
you saved me a lot of fucking tweets.
No,
today.
I'm just saying all the. I mean, I can name like 50 hilarious women: Shelby Farrow, Morgan Murphy. All these people just boom, 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 boom. But they hire this woman, but instead of letting her be just as outrageous and crazy, her job is to go, now, guys, right. Hey. So that's the only role that they're, and that's what leads to idiots going, see, women aren't funny. Well, that's because there's these fucking dumbass program directors that don't let them come on. I mean, you listen to Bonnie's show when she's going after Rich.
I love it.
It's fucking amazing.
They're on tonight.
Yeah. It should be, I mean, a lot of these shows, it should be a guy going, what the hell are you, what did you just say? Like that. Right. If they really let them do what the hell they wanted to do. But like you said, there's this old format and they don't want to change it. But that's how we always do. We have the woman here doing. Right. Don and Mike got stuck with someone like that for a little while at WAVA. And literally they would do the show promo and she's like, I'm just here to keep these guys in line.
I like that.
That was literally her line.
I think that's important. What happens is the boys go too far.
Yeah, but all the funniest people on Twitter are all women, by the way. The most outrageous shit. If you follow Jocelyn Plums's Twitter feed and tell me that women not only are not funny, aren't insanely offensive and hilarious. Go read Jocelyn Plum's
How do you
tweets.
say this girl Megan
Megan Amram?
She's hilarious.
Shit.
Really? She's very fucking funny.
Oh my God. I can eat whatever I want and never get married.
Yeah, she's a really good fucking tweeter.
And there's another one called /Lean, and another one, Adrienne Earhart. Mm-hmm. Adrienne Earhart had this amazing tweet where she said, my waiter in this Mexican restaurant just brought my food to the only other blonde woman here. Now I understand. Oh, wait, that's not my waiter.
Wow.
That's funny.
That's fucking brilliant.
So just shit like that, just bam, bam.
You know who makes me laugh too? A funny one. She's a porn girl. I can't remember. She's oh my God, David Cho's co-host on his podcast.
Oh, David Cho, the artist, the graffiti guy?
Yes, he has a podcast. And
I didn't know he had a podcast.
Yeah, and he has a porn girl who's his co-host, and she is fucking hilarious on Twitter. She's like an Ivy League school educated girl. She's really from New York.
And I bet on his podcast she's not there to keep him in line.
Oh, no, she's awesome.
Why don't here's another thing.
Asa Akira.
If they want to bring in female listeners, hire somebody fucking outrageous. And have nobody trying to control anything. That's how a show pops.
And they sit around in regular radio and they don't understand why the whole industry collapsed.
Yeah,
they don't get it, and they're still doing the same mistakes,
same bullshit.
But
there's a great, really quick. There's a great Jocktober when you kind of fuck with those guys with these guys where you slowly let on that it's a $10,000 fugitive, and the moment when they realize that that's what you're about to listen to is so amazing. The volcano of rage that comes out. Like, we already made fun of this last year, and they're still doing like this.
What's great about Jocktober too is that it starts out and we're having so much fucking fun with it, and then we get so mad and pissed off by the end of it.
Yeah, you're just losing your minds.
Like, fuck, you want to yell at it, like, do something different, please.
Yeah. We'll be back with more of the best of Opie and Jim Norton. We are back with more best of Opie and Jim Norton.
Trevor Noah, what's up?
How are you?
Welcome to the show.
Good to see you, man.
See you again.
You know Jim.
Yeah,
Jim Norton, of course.
Bobby Picchetti's a comedian.
And Mike Pichetti said
Bobby Slayton.
Nice to meet you.
He met you on Artie's show.
Yes.
So what's going on, buddy?
Oh, what is going on?
Well, the Robin Williams thing's
it's the saddest.
Horrible.
It's a weird day to be plugging something, even though it's what the business is we got to plug, but then you go out, you're like, oh, fuck.
You look like a young guy. Were you even alive when Mark and Mindy came on back in, I think, 77?
No, but I mean, those shows were new on South African television. We got all the old stuff from America. So, I mean, I grew up watching, the Robin Williams was one of the few people that crossed, doesn't matter race, creed, age, whatever it was. Everyone was watching those movies, those TV shows.
Did you get them in real time back then, or was it like
no,
a lot of delay?
We got it very, very delayed.
How like by a year or by like 5 years?
Probably 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, probably 2 years. And then some of the older stuff whenever. It came out whenever, if it was a complete show.
We're talking a lot today about comics being dark, and I don't know you well enough personally to know if you were like had that type of a personality or.
Well, I think most comedians do. Somewhere deep down as an outsider.
Well, you're dark on the outside too, so you started. You see what I did there? You see what I? Huh?
Wow.
Yeah, Bobby. Zing, zing, zing. Yeah.
No.
Wow. Mike,
Guys, laughter heals us.
Mike's excited about that.
No, I'm not. I'm not excited.
Well, you look at a black guy and go, hey, you're dark. Well, yeah, hello.
That's
Mike,
hilarious.
you should stick up for Trevor.
No, Trevor's a cool guy, man. I got your back. I can fight a little bit now.
What do you mean you got to stand up for me like being black is a bad thing?
No.
No.
It's not a good thing, but it's not a bad thing.
You got to be who you are. It's a great thing. As long as people are cool, I don't care what anybody is. As long as they're cool, who cares?
What type of rooms did you play in South Africa?
We don't have many rooms. We had to start out. I mean, comedy was illegal before democracy, so it's not like we have a long-standing.
Wait a minute. Hold on, please. It was illegal in the sense that they would arrest you, or
yeah. It was like most comedians were arrested because you couldn't say anything that was seen as defamatory towards the government. So if you said something like that, you get arrested. And this was only white guys. There were a lot of white comedians who were just like, "What's happening is horrible."
So they criticized apartheid or what was going on?
Yeah, definitely. And then they would get arrested.
What year are we talking?
Oh, this is anything before 1990.
Wow,
that's crazy.
So you get, and then you couldn't, as black people, you couldn't gather just in a group. If there was like more than 5 of you, then they believed you were planning a coup or something. So
I think that's a pretty good idea, though. I mean,
there's no.
That's fine. 10. I'm all over with it. 10 black people, not 5. That's crazy.
He's the pit bull. He's
I'm for a team 9, and that's it.
He brought it today. The
No
pit
more
bull
black
brought
people.
it today. That's a fascinating story. So
so we got like the first comedy club was built, I think maybe 5-6 years ago. The first like purpose built. The rest of the time we just have rooms. We just try to build. Just go into a restaurant or
kind of like comedy was here in the '60s, where like guys would do it in a jazz club or a music club.
That's exactly it.
But arrested before 1990.
Yeah, I never heard
comedy.
Yeah, that was it was normal though. Everyone got arrested during apartheid. That was just it was like your thing. It wasn't a big deal.
Right.
You got arrested.
And you started stand up when? Did you start there or after you left?
No, I've stayed in South Africa. I've lived there my whole. I still live there. So I started in South Africa. I didn't even know what it was when I started. To be honest, I was in one of those jazz clubs. I thought I was going to watch jazz, and then some guys started talking, and then didn't finish, and then we just sat there, and then my cousin was drunk. And he was like, "You guys are horrible. You guys are horrible." And I didn't know what a heckler was. I guess my cousin's a heckler. he was, "You guys are horrible." And then the comedian started fighting with him. He's like, "Oh, you think you can do better?" And he's like, "No, but my cousin's funnier than you guys." I was like, "Thanks for that." And then he said, "Go on." And the comedian was like, "Yeah, well, why don't you come on stage then?" And so we went. And then we squashed the beef backstage. Because the guy was like, "Hey, I know, bravado gets a bit out of hand, but..."
Wait, that night you went on?
Yeah, I went on.
Did you have material, sort of the...
No, my friends were so drunk, they just shouted out stories. They're like, "Tell the one about this."
Oh, really?
And then I literally just told the audience stories about like things I told my friends, and then
Did you get a good reaction?
It did. It felt natural. I understood the stage.
As a comedian, do you understand the nightmare you just described? Every comic's nightmare is that you get heckled and the guy comes up on stage and does well.
Right.
Like that's every comedian's nightmare, that your heckler actually is legitimately a funny guy. You come up here and do it, and he does it, and he's actually good at it. You're like, oh, fuck.
That's extremely rare.
Yeah, that's a
because I
very rare
have been in
case.
places where the guy will come up, and then it's just horrendous.
Yeah, most
how
of
bad
the
it is.
time it's really. But the guys on that particular night were really bad, so I thank them every day.
Do you know any of them?
I actually do know them.
You know.
No, they were great. They were great comedians. They were just having a horrible night. So I mean, I thank them every time I see them. If it wasn't for that night, I would have never started.
And that was it. Then you were on your way.
And then from there, I was like, this thing is fun. Let's do it. Every single week, I just found a place where they would, I didn't even know these places existed. It was such a small thing in South Africa. It was just this fringe industry. No one really. No one really knew about comedy. It was like, who are these guys? What is that? My mom thought I was dealing drugs or something. She genuinely, she was like, how are you paying the rent? And I said, I'm a comedian. She said, what is that? And I said, I tell jokes. And my mom she's like, what do you mean you sell drugs? Just tell me you sell drugs. Don't lie.
She didn't believe what you're doing.
No, because she didn't know what it was.
She didn't really understand.
My dad still doesn't know what it was, and he's Swiss. He's Swiss German, and he just doesn't know what a comedian is at all.
Wow, really?
Yeah, he's just like, I don't know what you do.
Isn't there a festival in Johannesburg or something? Someone told me there was something.
Yeah, we've started a lot of festivals. We used to have the biggest comedy festival in the Southern Hemisphere. But that's one of the biggest reasons comedy has grown, is because we've had so many great guys coming from the US and from the UK. Everyone used to come out and we'd see these guys and they were doing stuff. I mean, when comedy started in South Africa, everyone was just telling jokes they had seen, or they were reading from books, or no one knew. I'm a second generation South African comedian. The first generation guys they started, they didn't even know what to do. How do you craft a joke? How do you,
What year was your first time?
Oh, first time was
that story you just told. What year?
That was 8 years ago. So what is that now?
2006?
Yeah.
2006.
Is there a comedy club there now, or still no comedy club?
Yeah, there's one in Johannesburg and one just opened in Cape Town.
Does it do well? A lot of people come and...
Yeah, it does really well.
In South Africa, you got a lot of great wine, you got a lot of great art. People don't know. I've never been there, but, I do know. They have terrific wine.
Yes, we do.
Great music.
Some of the best wine in the world.
Yeah. Well, let's not get carried away. It's
No,
good for
it is.
in the Southern Hemisphere.
It wins awards. We're not getting carried away. It wins awards. So we
Really?
Yeah. I wouldn't get carried away. It's the award. It's the awards. The award givers got carried away.
And then how do you move on from South Africa and start touring all over Europe? And
wow, that's just one. It's great guys that come over. To be honest, that's the fun thing about comedians is no matter how big they are, that I always feel like a comedian's a comedian. So guys would come down to South Africa. They would do shows. They go, hey, whenever you come over, if you ever do, then look me up. And then you meet these guys. And they would show us I remember I never knew what it was. I think I was 3 years into stand-up comedy before I knew what a callback was. I didn't know what it was. And one day we were watching a show and there was a comedian on and he did a callback, but he did it like 4 times in the show, it was one of those. And we were standing on the side going, what is this man doing? What is he? He did the same punchline. This is amazing. This is so economical. We were on our back. We were like, this is crazy. He did it again. It was the same thing. And then after the show, the audience, some of the members of the audience, they didn't understand what had happened. So they came to us and they complained. They said, yes, was he drunk? That American, was he drunk? Yeah. He said the same joke 4 times, man. It was horrible. And we're like, no, it was. Don't you get it? It was a thing. We didn't know what it was called. It was like
a running joke almost. I guess.
Exactly. And the guy was like, you guys don't use callbacks. He's like, you don't do that. You guys have a lot of. And we're like, we've never heard. A lot of us had never ever heard of that. And then so every guy would come in. They'd leave a bit of themselves. That you'd learn from them. They'd inspire young guys. And then we started building our own style slowly. And then one day, actually, the first time I left was to come out for Last Comic Standing. I got asked to come out. They just fetched people from all over the world. They were doing an international thing. And so I got asked to come from South Africa. It was in Miami. And they brought me out. And then they were extremely disappointed because I may be dark, but I wasn't dark enough. So they thought I was like Africa.
Right.
And then because I'm mixed, I think they were a bit like,
more of a casting call then.
It was. They wanted stereotypes of each country.
Right.
So they were very disappointed, if you...
And you're a hilarious guy. I'm not being polite because he's here. He's a really funny comedian.
Thank you, Jim.
And you kill when you go on in the cellar. And it's really smart material. You talk about race, and there's a great bit you have going around. I forget what it was called, but it was something... I never watched comics bits, but it was something about... things being unfair, or the bit about I'm fucking sound like a fat lady in the audience quoting a fucking comedian's joke. That thing you do when you talk, I should be fucking executed. God, what a novice.
Oh man!
But do you know the
you're
bit
mourning
I mean?
though. You're mourning today.
I don't. I genuinely
it's a funny bit about race that he has that somebody tweeted me, and I watched it, and I'll just say that.
Oh,
it was,
thank you.
I don't remember what it was.
I don't know which one it is. But
no, maybe I should clarify. You're wearing nice clothes. You're talking to a mic.
At one time. I know the time.
But maybe I should be nicer to audience members. As a comedian, it's hard to describe a fucking bit to another.
That's kind of strange to me. That you actually saw it, liked it, but you can't really describe it right now.
And watched the whole thing. It was like a 4-minute piece or a 3-minute piece. I watched the whole thing. I didn't bail out.
I would love to know what it is, because then we could play it into the break or something for everybody.
If I remember it, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Do you know?
I have no clue.
He gave you a lot there.
No, I just said race, and he had a guy, and
race and unfair.
They laughed.
That narrows it down.
Yeah.
Oh, the one where they laughed. I know exactly which one it is.
Does your mom understand comedy now?
She does now.
Oh,
she does.
good for her.
She still doesn't. She doesn't come to shows though, because when she found out what comedy was, then she's just like, I was like, "Do you want to come to a show?" And she said, "That's ridiculous. I would never. Why would I pay? Or why would I come and share you with other people?" My mom's just like you. I don't think you're funny when you're talking to other people. I'll have my jokes at home. So.
But was she funny?
She's hilarious.
So
I think
she's
funnier
hilarious.
than I am. Yeah.
Really?
My grandfather was the funniest man I ever knew. He was this crazy man. His name was Temperance Noah, and he was this crazy old man. And in the township where we grew up, his nickname in the streets was Tachisa, which means like the smoking hot grandpa. And he just had charisma, and he was really popular because he was one of the few guys who could speak English in the neighborhood, and he just run around saying things. It didn't make sense. I only realized afterwards, but he would just say stuff. He'd just run around and be like, "Hey, how are you, sir? See you proprietary, well done." And people were like, "What is that? It's amazing. It's English." And then and he was just crazy. And I remember the first time I can remember knowing how powerful comedy was. I was with him, and we were in the city, and back then when I was a kid, there was a curfew for black people in the city, so you come in, you do your business, and then you leave. You have a little pass that allows you into the city, and then you have to go back out.
What was the curfew?
It was just dusk, basically. Oh. So sun goes down, and then you leave, because I guess people can't see you that well, so I don't know. So, and then you just leave. And then my granddad was there, and we were in the city one day, we were about to leave, and then this policeman comes past on a horse, and he's basically corralling black people. There was something happening. And this man looks at my grandfather and he goes, "You bloody move, stupid!" And my grandfather looks at him and he says, "Master, can I ask you a question?" And the man looks at him. Literally, I think he was going to hit him. And he looks and he says, "What do you want? What do you want?" And in the news, the week before, there was a picture of the president kissing the horse at the winning race at the big July. So the president was kissing a horse. And so my grandfather looks at the policeman and he says, "Master, why is it that your president can kiss a horse, but he won't kiss my sister?" and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna get beaten. Oh, we're gonna get beaten." And then the policeman is like, I don't know. What are you trying to say? Why won't he kiss him?" Then my grandfather's like, "'Cause you haven't seen my sister." And I didn't even get what had happened. The guy looked at us, and then he started laughing. And then he rode away on his horse, and he didn't beat us. And we were like,
"Wow!" But you understood that laugh just saved you a beating.
Subconsciously, I was so young, I didn't understand. But I think subconsciously, I realized that if you make somebody laugh,
you get out of a situation.
And then I used it my whole life as a kid. That's the only way bullies wouldn't hit me, is if you tell them a joke, and So
well, a lot of comics, I know I was like that. I was a skinny little kid, not like Norton here. Look at him, a monster. But if you can't play sports and you have big kids, and you got to laugh's the only way to get out of stuff.
It was the only way. Tell the kids jokes, and then you could break. That's the one thing. Like, it didn't matter what skin color people were. If you could tell them a joke, then you end the game.
Because they were also the bigger kids were afraid you would embarrass them. It's the one thing you could do to them that they could could pound you, but you could verbally embarrass them in a way then that's a high school boy's worst nightmare. Yes. So that was the saving grace.
How's South Africa nowadays?
Well, it's doing well. I mean, we've got our share of problems, obviously, but I mean, it's a functioning.
What are the problems nowadays compared to
Oh, I mean, now we're almost like, I'd say we're like the U.S. in the maybe 90s, So we've got our fair share of crime. We've got corruption. I mean, the good thing is we have as people get caught for the stuff, so it's not like it's like there's some countries where it's corruption but nothing happens. They just go, yeah, that's how it runs. In our countries, people are corrupt, they get caught. There's just a lot of corruption, but a lot of people are getting caught for it. But the country functions. We're a great economy in Africa. We do trade. We've got business. We've got cities. We've got beautiful places to come and visit. That's why I still live there. People always go, "Oh, so you like living in the U.S.?" I don't live here. I love to live in South Africa, and then I visit other places in the world. Right. Because it's a great place to be.
How old were you when Mandela came into power?
He came into power in 94. So I was what? I'm horrible with these things. I was 10 years old. Yeah. 10 years old when he came into power.
Do you remember feeling any differently? I mean, I guess by the time you're 10, you know the difference.
No, it was ridiculous. It was just, I didn't know what was happening, but it was the craziest thing. Like, it was a tumultuous time, though. It was crazy because the people were marching through the streets, and I mean, there were riots. There was, you know what I mean? White people were shitting themselves because they thought we were going to eat them. It was like, it was, I don't think you understand. It was one of the craziest times in our history. It was just, when people lined up to vote. You've never been allowed to vote your whole life. Like, people think it was crazy when Obama was running. Like, how there would be old ladies, and this was literally every single person of color in a country that's never been allowed to vote. And you're the majority. Don't forget that. So 90% of the country has never been allowed to vote. And then they go, okay, guys, now you get to vote. So this is it.
Wait, was there a white candidate really giving it his all?
No, there was.
Boy.
It was Mandela versus the white guy. It was like the guy who F.W. de Klerk, who was the previous. You know, it was like so. Hey, you want more of the same? Or every single person, I don't care who you were, every single person stood in line. Lines ran for miles. Everyone was like, I mean, there's no internet back then. There was nothing to tell. So you just had word of mouth going, right. You have to come and you have to make a mark in this box because this will change your life. But it was the craziest time ever. I'll never forget it.
That's amazing.
And were they running white people out, or was it?
No, there was none of that. There was look. I mean, a lot of white people left. Not most, but a lot of them, like the ones who had money and were really scared. And I don't know why they were scared. Either they had done something, or they just thought something would be done to them. They ran. They left the country. They fled. A lot of them went to Australia, to the United Kingdom. Out here, they went to the OC. And then other people stayed, and they were paranoid, but then nothing happened. White people still have money in South Africa. They're still living their lives.
This is awesome. I love when people in power and justice gets done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the most fantastic thing ever.
It's really probably about that time, too, that American artists around the world wouldn't play there because of apartheid.
Yeah.
And there's the whole Mandela era. And
it was huge. It was huge. Those things really help. People think it's you know, it's so funny how it seems like such a small thing. But because people always go, oh, who cares if a rock band doesn't go to a country that has injustice? What does it do? The one thing it does is it shows the people that live there that what's happening is not acceptable. That's the biggest thing it does. It doesn't affect the government itself, but it just, like I always say, you can't finish racism. You won't get rid of, but you can at least make it so unacceptable that people go, okay, you know what I mean? It's like pissing in the street. Like, you can't get rid of it.
It also let people
But you can't just do it whenever you want.
It also let people in this country know, because I remember I never heard of apartheid. What is that?
Yeah.
And it's when all of a sudden Dylan or whoever wouldn't play there, and then everybody heard about it from around the world. So that actually did something to change things.
Because of the video. Ain't gonna play Sunset Day.
Oh, right.
Yeah, right, that was the big one. Yeah.
That was huge.
That's right.
And plus, it's embarrassing to the government, I think, too. It may not hurt them, but when certain big bands won't come in or big performers, it's an embarrassment because it's such a visible slight and such a visible rejection of what's happening in a place.
Yeah, so I mean that was huge for us. So now we're thriving. Now we're normal. Now we're just depressed. That's it.
How did it affect you? How did it affect you? Do you see color?
Of course I see color. I love it when people say...
Do you get angry at white people? Or?
Oh, then I get angry at my dad. No, I love it when people say that. Though I don't see color. Let me tell you something about myself. I don't see color. Right. I'm not one of those people.
I think it's all we should say. Am I right or wrong, Trevor?
Then I'm like, good luck reporting a crime.
And your dad's white and your mom's black?
Yes, my father's Swiss from Switzerland. So funny enough, he doesn't call himself white. It's a strange... I mean, white was invented in like the early 90s. In the early 1900s. Like, it was a thing that was basically invented. Before that, people were their nationality.
Right.
But white was never a real thing. So in Europe, people don't consider themselves white.
Right. Aryan, ex-Nazis. Switzerland, hiding out, whatever.
So my dad calls himself, he's Swiss, and then you have France, you have French people, and then you get what I'm saying. So like for instance, he looks at South Africans and he calls them white people because they call themselves, you know what I mean? So he goes, oh, you know the white people. I'm like, what are you? He's like, no, I'm Swiss. Calm down.
But did your parents get together in South Africa?
They did. It was illegal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So there's a story there, obviously.
Yeah. Well,
how do they make that work?
Well, I guess they just did.
Did they have to hide?
They did. There were underground movements all over the city where people would just, if there were white people who were like, this is ridiculous, and so they would provide refuge to black people who wanted to come in. And most of the time, people were brought together by partying. It was music, So there were underground clubs, and you could go there and you could mix as freely as you wanted. Europeans would come over and they'd be like, wait, what do you mean we can't get with the locals? And then the government was like, oh, because they're dirty. And the Europeans were like, no, they're not dirty, they're just black.
Right.
And they'd be like, let's do this thing. And so people just got together. They were arrested. My mom was arrested all the time. She'd spend weekends in prison. She was just,
For what?
For fraternizing with a white man. And she'd get arrested and then she'd go right back.
Did they get in trouble as a couple for dating? Like, did they get caught when they started together?
Yeah, if you were ever caught together, then they would arrest the black person. And if you're a woman, it was better because they just arrest you. If you're a black man, then there's a chance you may not come back from that encounter. So they would just be like, oh, it was rape. And then even if the woman said, they would be like, yeah, we found him.
Oh, my God.
So, I mean, my mom, it was tough for her, but it could have been worse, I guess. And then for my dad, he just got warnings the whole time. He was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. So he really didn't care. He thought it was the most ridiculous thing ever.
So how were you brought up?
I guess they made it work. I know it sounds weird, but I didn't even know that it was a strange thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I promise you, I did not know that it was, my dad wouldn't walk with us in the street. He'd walk on the other side of the road, and I thought that's just how families function.
What did your friends say something, though? When the other kids say something?
No,
what is your father doing? What is your mother? You crazy?
No, because you kids, at that age, I literally thought that's how the world was. I thought dads were white. I thought
and they
moms were
walked
black.
on the other side of the street.
I just thought, I would judge other parents' kids. I'd be like, why is your dad so clingy? Like, why is he you know?
I do like the idea where you don't have to walk with your wife. I mean, my wife's white. But if they had that kind of law, well, look, I'll meet you at the movie theater. I have nothing to say to you. You walk on that side, and I'll meet you in an hour. There's something good to be said about that.
That's crazy to me.
So just what's funny is I've got pictures in my photo albums of me as a kid, and I've got this in all the pictures. There's this woman who looks exactly like me, and I always wondered who she was. My mom told me this woman was her best friend, and because she was my skin color, she was legally allowed to walk with me in the streets without any questions being asked. And then my mom would walk behind us and act like she worked for her friend as like her maid. You know, so that's how we get around without problems.
Oh, because your mother was darker?
Yeah, so my mom's black.
And they would say,
because I'm mixed, so my skin color is lighter. So, and technically that meant I was superior to my own mom. It was literally a color-based system. The darker you got, the worse your life was in South Africa. So I could have got better privilege than my own mom just because of the color of my skin.
So, but the neighborhood you grew up in, didn't other people rat your family out, saying we know what's going on here?
No, because we grew up in Soweto, it was only black people, so they were just like,
yeah, but your dad,
no, he didn't live with us. He couldn't live with us. He lived in the city, and then my mom and I lived in Soweto, and then we'd go and see him, and then we'd maybe spend a few days there, and the police would catch us, and then we'd go back to Soweto, and then we'd go spend a few days at my dad's, and then the police would catch us, then we'd come back to Soweto, and then that's how.
And that was just your life, and
that was
it felt normal to you.
It was normal.
That was it. I was just like, this is what happens. Like this.
So you must have worked that into your comedy then.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, all right.
Because afterwards, you're just like, it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. It's just,
why would you talk about anything else? It's so amazing. And there's got to be still a lot of those people around. Like you go down south, and there's still the KKK and Nazis. And they got to have a lot of that still in South Africa.
Definitely, they do. And there's a lot of people who don't even see. I know it sounds strange, but there's people who actually don't even see the wrong in it. They don't, like, apartheid was one of the worst crimes ever committed against a group of people. But then you just look at people now who are like, get over it. It's done now. It's done. Get over it. Why are you guys still talking about it?
There's people in this country that say that too.
Yeah, they just go, it's done. What's wrong with you guys? Time to move on. It's done. It was 20 years ago already.
Wow. And how long did it last, apartheid?
How long?
Yeah.
Wow. I'll be lying if I give you an exact date, but I think it started. Could have been early in the 30s or 40s, I believe, when it was made into a law. When it was after the British gave us independence, and then it switched, and it was such a weird thing because the British, I mean, like the Zulus in the country helped the Afrikaners defeat the British in like so many wars. And then it was almost like an us versus them type thing together, black and white. And then just slowly, they're just like, yeah, more us and less them.
How are those Zulus? You don't hear from them anymore. Are they still doing it? They still around? Okay,
they are still around.
The headhunters. Where are all these people?
They actually are still around. They're having a good time. Yeah, they are still around.
Yeah. On the outskirts of town, where are they?
No. They've, like, you must remember, a lot of land was given back to people. Yeah. A lot of, the country's changed now. It's slowly becoming like people have to find their place, but it's a wonderful thing to see. It's a fresh democracy. It's new.
Are your parents still together?
No, they aren't. They never got together. They were never allowed to get married, first of all. So they were just always, and then I think they just got used to that life themselves. So they just never,
Right. They still see each other, or they just?
No. My dad actually just moved back to Switzerland. I think in his old age, he just likes the free health care and the very clean air, and just everything. Money.
The Aryan lifestyle, just spit it out. Get back to those Nazi friends. Bobby.
I don't think he'd have Nazi friends with his choice of
pizza
woman.
parties.
Yeah, they would certainly have an issue.
They would have a slight issue with his choice.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Look, we've been to talk to you about this."
Yes, we need to. And my mom is Jewish, so that doesn't help.
She's black and Jewish?
Yeah, she just converted to Judaism. I don't even know how she did it. Because it was... I was traveling a lot. And so my mom and I chat every day. We via email. You know, I taught her how to use it, and she loves it. So every day she sends me emails. And then slowly the emails changed from just random, "Hey, how you doing?" to she'd be like, you know, "Oh, Shabbat Shalom." And then she'd send me, it was just every day would be something, and then I'd have to look the stuff up. I didn't know what she was, I was like, is she okay? And then one day when I went home, I was like, what's going on? And she said, oh no, I'm Jewish. I'm just, you know, I was like, what do you mean? She said, yeah, I'm Jewish. So she goes, like, she does Jewish things. I don't even understand it.
Sammy Davis.
Because I wasn't brought up Jewish, so I don't know. She left me in the lurch.
Things, Bobby.
She just left me in the lurch. But like she
people, cuts out coupons. Go ahead. You racist prick. Go ahead. Say what you mean. Jewish things. You know what they do, those people. My father told me all about it before he moved back to Switzerland. Yeah, that's a dark. There's a darkness right there. Things you're not telling us.
Oh man,
that is a story, though. Wow.
What's your documentary about?
It's about, I guess, my journey in comedy in South Africa. That's actually one of the reasons I came out to America. Is a great guy, David Meyer, a friend now, came out to South Africa, and he wanted to film comedy and see if there was a thing, and he heard about it, and so he came out to do this documentary, and that was it. And he just followed me around. It was supposed to be just like a thesis film for his school, and then he turned it into a feature film. He came back, and I think we spent 5 years together. Just, you know, he just keep coming back, and he just documented everything. And it just showed, I guess part of it just shows the growth of comedy in South Africa. It's because it's a whole bunch of the guys on many levels. One, how comedy's growing from it grew from this niche thing to a thing that the people actually watch and enjoy. And two, to see how like the older guys, like there's a lot of white comedians in South Africa that got very angry because they just felt like you know, the black guys were getting more work, or they were just, and they were just, before it was just them,
right?
So it was like, oh, these guys, oh, they just getting the jobs because of the government, and we're like, well, it's tickets. It's not like the government's buying our tickets. It's just tickets.
Right.
People are buying the ticket, and they're like, oh no, it's black privilege, and it's affirmative action, and it just shows some of the guys don't know. It's not all of them. It's a very small minority. Most of the comedians, honestly, it's just comedians, you know.
How do we see the documentary?
It's on Vimeo. I know that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on Vimeo, anyone can go and stream it on there.
And what's the name?
It's called You Laugh, But It's True.
You Laugh, But It's True.
What is a hacky idea in South Africa? For like, we know what the hacky premises in America are. A comic will go up and start talking about something. You're like, oh, fucking just shut up. But like, what is it in South Africa that's like a premise that you'll hear and go like, oh, not this shit again?
I think we are slowly. That's a tough one, because I think comedy's so new that their hack is almost needed, right? I know it sounds strange, but like when guys would come from overseas, they'd go, oh, this is really hacky. How are you guys saying this stuff? But the audience doesn't. If someone's only been watching comedy for 2 years,
right.
to jump straight into the most abstract themes and things that you just make up. Like, for instance, sarcasm is not a big thing out there. So if you come out, like I've seen your set, Jim, and you're very funny, and then like some of the things you say, if you said that in South Africa, people would be like, how are you alive? You're such a mean person. They wouldn't get the fact
they say that here too.
No, but like a lot of people don't like it's a new thing, you know. People are still some are conservative, some so I'm always careful to say hacky, because you know, hack, I think to a certain extent is defined by an audience. I'm not going to be the one to say hack when the audience themselves are still going. Like, for instance, when I've traveled into Africa, the style of joke changes. Like when I go into like Central Africa or the style of joke changes so much that you just go, well, this is, wow, what is this? It's new, and it has to start somewhere. So
sorry to interrupt you, but that's maybe it's like hacky. The crowd's always like hacky because it is actually funny stuff, and maybe comedy is still too new there.
It is
for the premises to have gotten tired and beaten up because things are still changing.
Yeah, so
okay.
slowly you will see it changing. But for instance, like a lot of guys are still getting by on the very basic. So I watched Superman the other day. Can you imagine if Superman was black?
Right.
He'd be like.
You see, like right. He's right.
That's like the extreme hacky. That's, I would say, is still happening. Guys haven't learned to evolve that.
Slowly fading out, maybe.
But it is. There's a lot of audiences that go, come on, still this.
Right.
But I won't lie. The majority still enjoy it. The majority are like, this is fantastic. What if Superman was black? We couldn't have a black Superman because of apartheid. This is a fantastic concept. Tell us more.
Right. And you're opening the door for everybody else now in South Africa.
Yeah, I guess so. It's great.
Did they tip you when you open the door, or they don't tip black people?
that was sharp. I like that.
You can use that. Hacky, but it's yours.
Do you really speak 6 languages?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
What are the 6?
Well, we've got 11, so I mean, it's not that great. I speak English, Afrikaans, which is a form of Dutch, and I can dabble in Dutch. I speak Zulu.
Zulu?
I speak, yeah.
Can you say something? I've never heard Zulu spoken.
Okay, so Sawubona Jim Norton, ngiyajabula ukukwazi means hello Jim Norton, pleasure to meet you. So then that's Zulu, and then I also speak a bit of Xhosa, which is my mom's language. That's the one with the clicks, Xhosa, like that. But not like in American movies, you know, when they're like no. That's like we also watch that.
You go like, do that again? Squirrels. They're speaking squirrels do that, don't
they? Wait, so
it's a language. It's an actual language.
What's it called?
Xhosa.
Could you say something?
Okay, like so my mom would say like ndakuqhwaka ngempama sibhanqa somntana, which means I'll destroy you with a backhand, you bastard of a child.
Wow.
You've heard that a few times.
Wow. Oh, that's great. That's the first thing that flies out.
That's great.
What does the different clicks mean?
They don't mean anything.
Okay.
It's just pronunciation. It's just you know what I mean. It's
accenting certain words.
Yeah. So the X click is that's the X, and then there's the C. Kutu, that's the C, and then there's the Q. Kunu. So those.
So if you do that for a few minutes, something's got to come out. If you just go. Eventually, something's going to go. It's 4 o'clock. I mean, something.
No. You know what's funny is you think that with languages, but then the more languages you learn, the more. Like I used to think that when I used to speak fake German, and I thought, I'm getting this right because it'd be like fine, and then when you start learning the language, you're like, man, I sounded retarded.
Ridiculous.
So that's another piece. That's another one. German, partial German.
I speak German. I'm learning German as well. Started learning Spanish. It's going slowly, but.
Spanish seems like it would be the easy one.
No, not from my world, because the masculine, the feminine, it's just words I'm not used to.
Right.
It's, you know, so I've actually heard that it would be easier for me to learn Chinese because Zulu and Chinese somehow are very connected in their structure. So I need to look into that.
Wow, that's fascinating.
So
it really is.
I didn't know that.
Are you gonna be like Eddie is, or does he really learn a language before he goes to a country, or is that true that he does his different?
Yeah. Well, he actually. I wish he learned it before. Eddie's crazy. Eddie Izzard goes to the place, then learns the language while doing the show. Wow. So when he learned French, he went there with his broken French, and he just sat in a theater and very painstakingly bumbled through the language until he became fluent, you know, and now he's doing that with German as well. In fact, we were both in Germany at the same time doing shows. I was in the comedy club upstairs, and he was in like a tiny room downstairs working on his set, and then he was just working on changing it into German.
And people know what he's doing. Like they walk in knowing, okay, this is Eddie Izzard.
They know up front. So
he's trying this.
Yeah, and then he just works it, and he works it. I don't like, we always chat about it because we've worked a lot together, and I don't prefer it because I don't like being broad with my comedy, if that makes sense.
Do you do stand up in other languages?
No, I can, but I'm not a fan of it. I'll do jokes, not like a whole. I won't do a whole set.
Right.
So if I'm in the Netherlands, I will. You can throw in extra punchlines in Dutch. You can throw in a few things. You can set up a premise in Dutch, and then you can bring it back. And I like playing with that type of thing, you know. So
like Yiddish, almost like or Hebrew, like Jewish comics who work these very very orthodox audience. Like Modi works orthodox audiences, and he said he'll just throw all these taglines in.
Yeah,
and stuff.
You see, that's a great thing to do because you merge the two languages, you meld them together, but then. I think I lose so much in another language that I don't have enough grasp of the language, and plus the comedy changes in another language.
Sure.
It's not the same thing.
Sure.
What is something like
you lose figures of speech completely?
Sarcasm is not. You said not big in South Africa. What is something that's big in like a South Africa language thing that wouldn't necessarily work here?
Oh wow, that's an interesting one. Sometimes it's just the alliteration of the words or the way the words come together, the way they. So when you translate it into English, it wouldn't make sense. I can't even think of something off the top. Like a stupid joke, for instance, would be there's like a joke about. It's like a thing kids would say to each other. They go, "You see a dog in a ditch, and the dog's stomach is open, and there's maggots inside it. How do you get over the ditch?" And then the answer would be. Would be I'll jump over the ditch. But then in that language, when you say "kitlo jampa," if you say that word slightly wrong, it means I'll eat the stomach. But if you pronounce it, so the whole joke is the fact that when you say, just imagine if jump means I'll eat it.
Right.
So then you go, I'll jump it, and then everyone's like, ha ha ha, you'll eat the dead dog. You asshole.
Right.
because of the slight word
because
change.
of the
slight variation.
But most of the time, most of the comedy in African culture is storytelling. It's not like the whole one-liners and the sarcasm. That's not a big thing. Most places people just look at you and go, "What are you doing?" Like they just sit there and it sounds factual to them.
Like if you say something, they'll take it very literally.
Yeah. So if you go, you know what I hate, and they go, "What do you hate?" I hate it when there's always that one guy, and they're like, "Oh, okay. Thank you for telling us."
Thank you for telling us there's one guy who does that. That's funny. There's a lot of American audiences that do that, and they should know better. I don't mind if a culture doesn't understand it, but when Americans do it, it's like.
And they'll just. But most of the time, guys, for instance, it's the most fantastic style of comedy to watch. If you go, like I remember when I went to Zambia, you don't like punchlines. It's almost like it's an optional extra. You just tell stories. I know it sounds weird, but it's almost like the whole thing is a premise. You forget punchlines, forget setups. Just tell the story. Just go, I went there, this happened, man, this place is crazy, and then people go, oh, you're fantastic.
So how did you learn American comedy then? Because it's impressive that you broke out of all this.
It took me...
But you're not that old. You're what, 28, 29?
It took me 2 years on the road, going to every single club in your country, which was just, it was very hard, I won't lie. Because when I first, it's not about the comedy, I think it's the rhythm. That's what's hard to learn. The rhythm of people in a different place. And it changes, even New York to LA. Oh, yeah. The rhythm changes. Your joke will be the same, the structure will be, but it's the rhythm that you have to learn. Like when I was here last year, I was doing shows at a theater downtown at the Bleecker Street Theater. And then, so I'd do shows Wednesday to Saturday, and then Sunday I'd fly to London, and then I'd do shows there during the week, and then I'd come back on a Wednesday and then carry on. And every week I would have to just switch the rhythm. The first 15 minutes of the show, each city would look at me going, why are you talking like that? Why? And then I'll be like, we're in London now. The rhythm is different. And you just have to change, but it's the same joke. It's just the rhythm. And
but
it took me a while.
That's pretty impressive.
It's amazing
that you were able to figure all that out. That's really impressive.
It took me a while to learn that. So I've been to I think 40 states.
You're motivated.
It's also the sensitivity points are different too.
Definitely.
Like even from LA to here, I can imagine in different countries, like the sacred cows or the taboos.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I learned very quickly. I mean, I know it sounds like a stupid, obvious thing, but like terrorism or anything is very sensitive in New York, especially if you're an outsider. People just, I remember the first time that happened, I'd been doing a joke in LA, and it was a joke about, like, I don't know, Osama bin Laden being like a weather reporter or something like that. And it was doing well out there, and I was doing it in all different places. And I came to New York, and people just, wow, they were on the verge of just chasing me off stage. People, and then I had to learn. You learn the sensitivities in different places. The more you travel, you learn that people just have different touch points.
Right.
But once you learn to navigate that, anything is game.
And Trevor has tickets on sale too. Genuinely a really fucking funny comedian, and he's going to be at Levity Live, so which is tomorrow. So it's just go to levitylive.com, which is here in Nyack, I think.
Yeah.
And what's tomorrow? Yep. Wednesday? You just doing one show?
Just one show.
Just north of the city. Yeah.
I want to go see him now. Like you, I never watched comics.
Yeah, I've seen him. I've seen him in brief bits at the Comedy Cellar, and it's trevornoah.com, and TREVOR, and then Noah is NOAH. I guess you all know that. .com.
We'll be back with more of the best of Opie and Jim Norton. We are back with more best of Opie and Jim Norton.
I liked Andrew Lincoln.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's a very nice guy.
And a big star. What if he gets recognized a lot?
Everywhere he fucking goes,
course.
man. I bet you I think that was a sincere offer, actually. I will go do that, too.
Well, it seemed like it was a sincere offer because he talked about it right after the show.
Yeah, he's like, really, you should come back down if you want to do that. He probably doesn't pay much. You probably have to get yourself down there.
God, who cares about pay?
That's what I'm saying.
Just do it, right?
Yeah. I'd like to be a zombie. Maybe I'll be a featured zombie, like the first one that comes back every week. Oh, no, it's that zombie, like for comic relief.
Almost positive that won't happen.
Yeah, I'll just fucking crack everybody up.
You got any zombie material? That's the only thing.
Fuck yeah.
You can do jokes as a zombie?
Fuck yeah.
Like, what would you say?
I'm so fucking dead.
Yeah?
Fuck yeah.
That's it? That's beginning, middle, and end?
They'd be like, that zombie keeps talking. I'll be the first talking zombie.
What would you say, though? That's what I'm asking.
Fucking devil's coming.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You think that's bad?
Horrible. Oh, I wish you were still in Arizona.
Oh, me too. Yeah, that would not be good. I would love to. It would be. It's like a badge of honor thing. Like I said, it's one of those things you go out. It's just a cool cultural thing to do. You go down and get killed in the Walking Dead. If they would have me, I would be fun to do.
I'm sure a lot of people they talk about that. Like, yeah, man, I was a zombie. I got killed off in Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Which one were you? Well, I was just in the background, but who gives a fuck?
Yeah, you'll see me, and then you have that. You get a picture of yourself. This is me as a zombie being killed.
Right.
You know, as a goof.
I think that would be wonderful.
He said they Frankenstein it up, though. I always wondered, what do you do wrong as a zombie? And it's walking like Frankenstein.
You're a little too stiff.
Yeah. I'd be loosey-goosey.
Well, now you know the secrets.
Yeah, just be loosey-goosey.
Trade secrets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, E-Rock just said pop-locking. You're right. I would be the only pop-locking zombie.
It's a waste of time.
It's not. I'd be good at it. You're not supposed to make noise. I would do everything wrong. Zombie kill! I would say things that they just hate.
Just trying to get the attention on yourself.
Yeah, like they'd have a big scene where Andrew Lincoln would be talking, and there'd be supposed to be like, you know, some quiet zombies, and in the middle of him talking, I would just go, zombie kill! Cut! You gotta stop saying zombie kill. They don't talk.
Okay.
No, I would argue. Yeah, but we have to have a voice, right, guys? I'd get all the zombies all riled up.
Fuck up their whole show.
Yeah, why would you got to change direction here? People want to see the zombies. What's going on? I would try to like lead a zombie cult.
You just bite him. I was improvising. No, you can't bite the main character.
Why not? But maybe he and I work on a cure together as a team. Zombie kill. I would hate it.
And everyone would think the new zombie's right. We got to start talking.
Yeah, we just start getting a fucking revolution going. We want
revolution.
More.
Just fuck up the whole show.
Yeah, the whole zombies have a camp.
We'll be back with more of the best of Opie and Jim Norton. We are back with more of the best of Opie and Jim Norton.
Standing outside.
I don't know.
Why is he getting to know people? Get him in.
Yes, get his black ass in here.
Yeah, bring him in. Better hug Saul.
What's up, man?
There's Bob.
Hey,
Sherrod.
Bob.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Bob. How are you, Opie? What's going on, buddy? Welcome.
Did you forget your ID?
I did.
Oh, you did? I'm always on the road. I guess I'm conscious of that when I'm going. I always carry it just in case.
Well, I always have my ID, but my wife convinced me to hire this woman to dress me for all these TV shows.
Right.
Look at this.
You look good.
I like it. You look real good.
You look all right.
This woman makes me tuck in my
the lip of your shoe.
fucking shoelaces.
What do you
Why?
mean?
And she's like, nothing in your pockets, no keys.
Yeah.
I go, well, I gotta have an ID. She's like, don't worry, there'll be someone there. You give it to them. You don't want to upset the outline of the clothing.
Right.
The clothing's way more important than you. They should just send my suit to the talk show. Bob Odenkirk's suit will be here.
Yeah, it's just a mannequin with a pre-recorded message. Do you really have no? The pocket bulge does look bad, but like just your ID in the back pocket. Nothing.
No fucking
in the back.
belt.
No bulge
No
at all in
belt.
front.
No belt.
I'm like, really? She's like, no.
No
You
belt.
look sharp, though.
You do look good. It's a thin. That type of
I don't
suit
know.
JB
I think
Smooth
I look
wears.
like a kind of hip newscaster.
So you don't dress like that normally, is what you're trying to say? No.
No.
How do
I
you
look
dress?
like shit.
No, that's good.
I wear
You fit in around here.
khakis with dog spit all over them, and then a black T-shirt with holes in it, and that's about it. I live in L.A., so I can wear that.
Right.
Yeah.
Were you a stand-up when you started or no?
No, I did sketch comedy. That's how I started. That's what I loved. And then I did stand-up because the stand-up boom happened. And you could make some money.
Right.
You could be an opener and make $15. And, if you could talk for 10 minutes and kind of make them laugh. So everyone, look, I was waiting tables. You might as well go do some, if you can write some jokes. And so that's how I did stand-up. In
the 80s?
Yeah, from like 84 to, and then I do stand up now, but it's like a writer reading his jokes.
But back in '84, who else was doing stand up around you? You remember any of the guys?
Jeff Garland, Louis Schneider, Stephen Leo.
Was Jenny around?
Oh yeah. Jenny was doing good.
Right.
I mean, Jenny was doing better than any of these people. Emo Phillips.
Oh, yeah, Emo.
was doing huge.
He had a hot model wife. He's still married to the same wife.
Judy Tenuta, he was married to.
I thought he had
that was a short-lived thing.
Oh,
yeah, no,
okay.
he's got a hot.
He had his hot wife.
Beautiful wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's still rocking the bangs too. You think?
You know, it's so weird. He's such a funny guy, and I always wanted him to kind of drop the character, and I think he kind of has a little bit.
Yeah.
He's so funny.
That's what everyone
he
says.
Writes jokes all day.
I've never seen his stand-up, but everyone says he's amazing.
One time I go, I'm kind of sick. He goes, you know what you need to do? I go, what? He goes, take a lot of vitamin C 2 weeks ago. He's great. And
do you think the character hurt? Because I thought the same thing. 'Cause I remember emo growing up, and then you don't see him as much now anymore. And I'm like, is it harder to get out of it? Like once
yes,
you're.
I think it's really hard for him to get out of it. We're talking about emo, but I'm glad. I hope he hears this. I don't. He doesn't need to do it at all. Maybe he loves doing it, but it's he's just a great joke writer.
Yeah.
And I think though it's one of those things where, especially when you perform for a live audience, and I saw this on Saturday Night Live too when I was a writer, you just get addicted to the laugh, the reaction, and you feel like you owe it to the audience to give them that thing. You know, I worked on Motivational Speaker with Farley, and when I left the show, he continued to do the character, and I said, Chris, just remember one thing: don't start at the end. You know, don't start at your top, highest peak of. And I swear to God, they started some of the scenes with the motivational speaker would start with him breaking through the wall.
Right.
And shit.
I remember, yeah.
Like, that's how it started. I'm like, you have nowhere to go, man.
Of course.
You can't.
But they want the big boom reaction, right?
But you get used to it as a performer. You're like, I should be giving, they're here, the audience is here. Shouldn't I be giving them that thing that they're waiting for me to do?
But he pulled it off, though.
Right now.
Even though he's starting on that level, he always pulled it off.
He's just so fun to
you
watch.
Wrote those? You wrote them?
I wrote the first one.
No kidding.
At Second City.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And, yeah, and... So anyways, I think it's the live audience kind of trains you as a performer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They kind of train you, and it can be bad sometimes.
Do you think a guy like emo, like I'm wondering, like why doesn't he go up at, like whether it's the Cellar or wherever he is in L.A. and just like with a piece of paper, like in an old room, or just talk the jokes?
Yes, he could do that.
And he'd probably do very well.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
You just, I don't know, you get used to the reaction and you just think this is what I do, and it's hard to trust.
Brian Regan's less of a, like, Brian is such a funny writer, you know, and he would always do a bit of a character. He's like, oh, God.
I love his character.
Yes, but it's much less now.
Is it really?
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
Sure. As you get older, it becomes, I think, a little harder. He still does it.
Right.
But I think you...
No, but it's not right. That's why older guys doing sketch comedy, and I'm going to do more... But it's not, you know, because you usually do these strong characterizations, and that kind of energy in a younger person is funny and kind of appropriate. And then you get older, it's like Jerry Lewis getting old. It's like, calm down.
Yeah.
Don't be
Take a chill
crazy.
pill.
Yeah, where's your dignity?
Right.
No, that's cool to hear about Brian Regan. He's so funny.
Yeah, he's great, and he still does it. It's not like he's not true to who he is, but he just seems like he's a little bit more of a balance.
Right.
And I think you just get that desire as you go on as a performer to...
Yeah, you want to see people become more themselves.
Right.
Yeah, especially since you have a wife and kids or whatever happens to you in life. And
so we'll have an intervention with emo.
Yeah,
we'll get him in here and we'll talk about it.
Get him back involved.
You should have him in here.
We've never had him. We've had just about everyone at this point.
He's never been pitched to
emo.
us, though.
No, we would take him in a second. Of course we would.
Does he still do that in full mode on stage, or you haven't seen him on stage?
I haven't seen him recently, but the last time I saw him, which wasn't too long ago, yeah.
All right, it still works.
So, yeah, gets laughs. Yeah.
How you feeling about the new show?
Feel great. I really do.
Nice, right?
I feel great. I've only seen one of them, but I know a lot of people.
You're kidding, right? I've
two.
seen the first three.
Really?
I saw the first three.
Yes.
Wow.
How did Jimmy see more than you?
Yes, well, I'm an executive producer on the show.
I mean, honestly, I wish I could just be the character until it's done and then watch them, because I'm really worried about seeing myself, you know,
and
like when I'm acting it, like
right.
thinking, oh, remember how I looked in that one scene when I was angry? I want to do that again.
Right.
Or remember, I just don't want to picture. I just want to be the guy doing what he's doing, not thinking about what it looks like, not thinking about how I come off.
Right.
But I'm going to have to watch them because you got to do the DVD commentary. Oh. But I'm actually looking forward to kind of watching them with the audience. Like, you know, every week. It's going to be on Monday nights, and I just want to do that. And the second one, I can't. Is the theme song different in both of them? Yeah, I'm not giving away this. Let's just say there's certain very interesting people that show up. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I was shocked. If you watch it, there will be, you will at times be shocked. You'll be very happy. In a good way. It was like, what a fucking cool decision that was to make with a couple of the directions they go in. Yeah, and that second episode was intense. It was. Let me ask you, I'm harping the theme song because I'm looking at the site. Is the theme song different? It seemed like it was different. I've only heard it one time. Oh, okay. It sounded different in the first three. I went to the premiere last week and I heard it for the first time. I'll tell you one thing it does that's very, very similar to Breaking Bad in a good way is Breaking Bad was one of the best shows I've ever seen at tying in the people's experiences in a believable way. Like, you remember in Boogie Nights when they're driving, like something happened in there was the shooting that happened in Don Cheadle's in the donut shop, and then Burt Reynolds is in the limo. Right. That type of tie-in. Right. Breaking Bad does that so fucking well, and so does Better Call Saul. Like, I was like, fuck, that was an amazing way to tie this character into this story. And it felt right, and it didn't feel shoehorned. Yeah. It's really great. Well, it's the same writers. Yeah. So those guys, this is what they do. They write these cliffhanger moments and crazy, intense things. And I'm happy with it. I mean, obviously, Breaking Bad was so massive and is beloved, and I can't do anything about that. I mean, when they asked me to do Better Call Saul, the only issue I had was leaving my family because they were going to committed to shoot in Albuquerque. But once I realized my teenagers wanted me to leave,
it was perfect for everyone. You wanted a break too. I hear the teenage years are rough, so I bet you wanted a little break.
Good. These are good kids, but maybe they're good because I get the hell out for weeks at a time.
How old are they? Like what teenage?
16 and 14.
Yeah, that's the age.
What's cooler than your father being in Breaking Bad, though? I mean, that's such a cool thing. Like, you know,
they probably are like, oh, Dad, right? Do they look at you as the cool dad because you were in the show, or
they Better Call Saul?
Right.
Blew their minds.
Oh, okay.
Really?
They love Breaking Bad.
Right.
I mean, my son loved it.
Right.
But I think that when they went to see Better Call Saul, and they were like, wow, you're on screen a lot, and it's and it's a good character, and it's solid. You know? I mean, that's the thing. You just don't want to go do this spin-off thing, and like, it's some kind of just desperate chase to keep the party going.
Like Joey's show from After Friends went off.
Yes, or After MASH, which was a good one.
My whole thing with it was when Vince would say, do you think you'd be a part of another show? And I would just go, look, if you have the idea,
right.
But I'm not going to campaign for it, because it should only happen because you really, really want to write it. You really, really are curious about it, and that's what happened. And it's kind of it's a different in tone. I mean, it made me happy. I mean, you might think like, well, of course you're the fucking star of it, but like, I'm pretty good at watching stuff that I'm in and just kind of. I would even say like, cut that guy, and I'm talking about me, but I don't say cut me because I just look at it as an actor,
right?
Just a part, a character. I mean, I cut a lot of Mr. Show, and I mean, I just whoever I am, whatever that character is, you just kind of be objective about it. It's not that hard, really. And so when I went to see it, it was such a dramatic part to play. But then when I went to see it, it made me smile the whole time. Like, it's kind of funny.
Right.
And I forgot, because I'm playing it seriously when I'm playing it, and he's in deep shit all the time, and then he just gets deeper in the shit.
Right.
Because his plans, which are clever when you hear them, never turn out
the way he thought.
And I forgot how funny that was to watch, how much it makes you smile to go, oh, dude, you're... No. Okay, no, I see how you would think that would work out, but you shouldn't do that. You just watch him, and it makes you smile to know that he's creating more trouble for himself.
Yeah, digging a deeper hole.
Yeah, and that's Do you know what I mean? Do you feel the same way?
The interesting part to watch is like when you're in a let's just say a pickle or a bind, how like to get you deeper into the mess. There's a way to get you deeper into the mess. I'm thinking more about the second episode. There was a situation, and it's like it looks like you're going to get out of it, and then something happens and you're deeper into it. And I was like, what a smart way, writing wise, to believably get you deeper into the shit. Because it didn't, like, you never want something in a show like this to look shoehorned.
Right.
Then it's fucking stupid. But like this was like, oh, why did that guy fucking say that? Blew it. You know what I mean? And it's like, but it's something that would happen because he didn't know that you had. It's one of those things.
There's a lot of moments like that. These guys write.